Welcome, everyone. Today, we're heading to the Himalayas. We're going to be talking about trekking in Nepal, but in a really unique way.
Yeah, this is a way to really kind of break away from those classic treks you see, those prepackaged treks,
Hmm.
and, really create your own journey.
Yeah, and it comes from David Weiss, this idea. He's kind of the authority on Nepal trekking, and it's in his book, Trekking in Nepal, which was updated in 2025.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept.
So why is this so relevant now? What makes, today the perfect time to be talking about linking these treks?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is just that, the trekking landscape in Nepal is changing. Roads are coming in.
Right.
So some of those classic treks, like the Annapurna circuit, for example, they're getting shorter.
Yeah.
And this kind of allows you to recapture
Right.
that magic of those trails.
Right. And it's a way to adapt to those changes, right?
Exactly.
And even find, some of those hidden gems that maybe you miss on the popular routes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I'm sold on the why, but how? What does it actually look like to link treks?
Well, let's say you're planning on hiking the Annapurna circuit,
Okay.
right? You could actually, instead of just doing that, you could extend it and link it with a side trip to Annapurna Base Camp.
Okay.
So you're going to experience that thrill of the circuit, but then you're going to add in those breathtaking views from the base of Annapurna itself.
Yeah, wow.
Or, you could branch off to Marty Himmel,
Okay.
and it's known for its stunning rhododendron forests, panoramic mountain vistas.
It's really about connecting those dots, huh?
It is. It's connecting the dots.
Yeah, instead of just checking off destinations, you're weaving a tapestry of experiences.
Yeah,
And that's where this guidebook comes in, right?
exactly.
Gives you the instructions and maps.
Absolutely. He's done the legwork. He's researched these. He's mapped them out. So you don't have to wander around lost in the Himalayas.
That's great.
It's like having a personal trekking Sherpa guiding you through the options.
Right. And you actually, you can save money doing this too.
You can. You can streamline your journey,
Focus.
avoid those overlapping permits and fees.
Okay.
So you often can reduce the overall cost of your trek.
Wow. So it's a win-win, right?
It is.
You get that customized, immersive experience, and you're saving some money.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
So where could a wannabe trek linker, I guess, start? Where are some areas in Nepal where these were possible?
Well, I think the Annapurna region is a great starting point.
Okay.
You have a wealth of options for linking treks. In addition to those extensions from the Annapurna circuit we just talked about,
Yeah.
You could also venture into less known areas like the Annapurna North Base Camp trek.
Okay.
That offers a sense of true exploration.
Yeah.
New tea houses and lodges are being established.
I love that. It's like you're a pioneer, right?
It is, yeah.
So cool.
And he also highlights a lesser-known route connecting Kopardanda and Mohordanda.
Okay.
And that offers stunning views, more of an off-the-beaten-path experience. It requires careful navigation, though.
A little bit of a challenge.
Exactly.
What about Everest?
Oh, of course.
That iconic region.
Yeah.
Are there links there too?
Absolutely. So you could expand that classic Everest Base Camp trek.
Yeah.
And you could link it with the Gokyori trek.
Okay.
That offers those breathtaking views of Everest, Lhotse, Makalu, and Cho Oyu from a completely different vantage point.
Why?
Or you could connect with, for a less traveled option, the Pikey Peak trek.
Okay.
And it's known for its incredible panoramas and insights into Sherpa culture.
Wow, it's amazing how many different combinations you can create.
It is.
This is really blowing my mind. So what about, the more adventurous folks?
Yeah.
The ones who want to get like really remote?
Yeah.
Are there links for that?
Absolutely. So his book outlines treks that delve into hidden corners like Narfi Valley,
Okay.
known for its ancient villages and breathtaking landscapes.
Yeah.
You could link that with the Manaslu circuit trek, venturing into a region that's still relatively untouched by mass tourism.
So you're not just seeing those postcard views.
Yeah.
You're getting a much deeper, more authentic experience.
Exactly.
What about Upper Mustang?
Oh, Upper Mustang, that's a restricted area. And it has a rich Tibetan Buddhist culture, a landscape unlike anywhere else in Nepal. It's really captivating.
Wow.
And so his guidebook provides guidance on linking the Upper Mustang Trek with either the Annapurna Circuit or the Muktaneth Pilgrimage route.
Okay.
Really creating an adventure that blends cultural immersion with that stunning natural beauty.
It's like you're stepping back in time, like you said, to a different world. And I'm starting to see the appeal here. It's not just about the journey.
Right.
It's like crafting a story.
It is, yeah. You're curating your own Himalayan adventure. Yeah.
So are there any caveats, any like practical things you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about doing this?
Oh, absolutely. While the possibilities are exciting, it's crucial to be realistic.
Yeah.
About your abilities, the logistics, responsible trekking practices.
So it's not just about choosing the trails on a map.
Right.
It's about understanding the bigger picture.
Exactly, exactly.
What are some of the key things people should keep in mind?
Well, permits, especially for restricted areas like Narfu and Upper Mustang.
Right.
And his guidebook provides clear instructions on obtaining those permits. Acclimatization's another crucial factor, especially when gaining altitude rapidly.
Right, right.
And so his itineraries incorporate acclimatization days, and he also offers tips on recognizing and preventing altitude sickness.
So you have to plan carefully.
Yes, you do.
Listen to your body.
Absolutely.
Now, in some regions, you probably need a guide, right?
You do. In regions like Narfu and Upper Mustang, hiring a guide's either mandatory or highly recommended, especially for those less marked trails.
Okay.
And it's not just about safety. It's also about, supporting the local economy and benefiting from their expertise.
Right.
The people who know the terrain intimately.
And they can enhance the cultural experience, too.
Absolutely.
Sharing their insights and knowledge.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it sounds like even though you have all this freedom to create your own trek, you got to do it responsibly.
Absolutely.
A good dose of common sense.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you highlighting all those practical things. It's a good reminder that even with the best guidebook, careful planning and responsible decision-making are key.
Exactly. And that's what makes this guidebook so valuable,
Yeah.
He doesn't just throw out these enticing combinations.
Yeah.
He empowers you to make informed choices,
Right?
and to have a positive impact on the places you visit.
Okay, so we talked about the what and the how. What about the who? Who is this, this idea, this linking treks best suited for?
Yeah, that's a great question. While it certainly appeals to experienced hikers
Yeah.
looking for a new challenge or to personalize their adventure, it's also a fantastic option for those who might be newer to trekking in Nepal, but have a clear vision of what they want to experience.
So you don't have to be an expert mountaineer to benefit from this.
Not at all. Not at all. The beauty of it is you can tailor the difficulty and the length
Right.
to match your abilities and your interests.
Okay.
So whether you're a seasoned hiker
Yeah.
or a first timer,
Yeah.
you can create a linked trek that's, challenging and rewarding.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, huh?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And that's where his guidebook really shines.
Yeah.
It provides a framework for exploration, but ultimately it's you who determines the shape and scope of your adventure.
So let's talk about some of those hidden gems that you could find doing this.
Oh yeah, the treasures that lie beyond the well-trodden paths.
I mean, I'm picturing, trekking through pristine forests, discovering these remote villages.
Yeah.
Maybe you stumble upon a hidden waterfall.
Oh yeah.
That breathtaking vista that few others have seen.
That's the magic of it, you
Yeah.
know? It opens up a world of possibilities beyond those typical tourist routes.
Mhm.
You can venture into areas where the trails are less crowded, the landscapes are more pristine,
Right.
and the cultural experiences are much more authentic.
It's about getting off the beaten path
It is. It is.
and forging your own connection.
Exactly.
Yeah. So his guidebook, this must be full of little-known trails and hidden gems.
It is. It is. He's a master of uncovering those hidden treasures.
Wow.
And he provides just enough information to pique your curiosity without spoiling the surprise.
I like that.
It's like he's giving you a map to buried treasure,
Yeah.
but it's up to you to dig it up.
That sense of discovery is really cool.
It is.
It's not just about following a predetermined route.
Yeah.
So with so many options, though, I mean, how do you even know where to start?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think start by asking yourself some key questions.
Okay, like what?
What kind of scenery are you most drawn to? Lush forests, towering peaks, or high altitude deserts?
Those are good.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a sucker for a panoramic mountain view.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about trekking style? Do you prefer tea house trekking?
Yeah.
With the comfort of lodges and meals provided?
Right.
Or are you more of a camping enthusiast,
Right.
ready to immerse yourself in the wilderness?
I'm definitely a tea house guy. Give me a warm bed, a hot meal after a long day.
Yeah, yeah. And perhaps most importantly, how much time do you have? You know,
Right.
a week, 2 weeks, a month.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is you can tailor it to your time frame
Right.
and your interests.
So be honest with yourself
Ah,
about your limitations and find that balance.
yes.
Ambition and practicality.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mix and match, You could combine a challenging multi-day trek with some shorter, more relaxed hikes.
Oh, good.
You can link a trek with a cultural experience.
Okay.
Visiting a monastery or attending a local festival. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, it sounds like it really is a way to create this personalized, unique trekking experience.
It is. It is.
But even with all this freedom, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and overlook some of the responsible trekking stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's important to remember that trekking in Nepal, especially in those remote areas,
Yeah.
requires a certain level of respect and awareness. We're guests in these mountains and in these communities.
Right.
And it's our responsibility to tread lightly and leave a positive impact.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. What are some of those responsible trekking practices?
Yeah. I think, first and foremost, minimizing our environmental impact.
Okay.
Packing out all our trash, using refillable water bottles,
Right.
being mindful
Yeah.
of water and energy usage.
And choosing those eco-friendly accommodations.
Absolutely.
Those tea houses that are prioritizing sustainability.
There are some incredible lodges and tea houses in Nepal.
Yeah.
They're using solar power, they're composting toilets,
Yeah.
they're using locally sourced food.
Yeah.
And then beyond the environmental considerations, respecting local culture is paramount.
Yeah.
You know?
Being mindful of our clothing, asking before we take photos,
Absolutely.
learning some Nepali phrases.
Yes, yes. Even a simple namaste or dhanyabad
Right.
can go a long way in building connections.
And what about supporting local businesses?
Yeah, he recommends staying in locally owned tea houses, eating at local restaurants,
Yeah.
Purchasing souvenirs from local artisans.
Right.
It creates a much more authentic, enriching experience.
Yeah, it's about being more than just a tourist.
It is.
It's being a responsible traveler.
Exactly.
Yeah, contributing positively to the places that we visit.
Exactly. And that's what makes trekking in Nepal so special,
Yeah.
It's not just about the stunning scenery or the physical challenge. It's about the connections that we make along the way.
Yeah.
With the land, with the people, and ultimately with ourselves.
Beautifully said. So it really sounds like this linking treks, it's more than just the logistics.
Right.
Right. It's about, deepening your experience,
It is.
creating a journey that's really, personal and meaningful.
It is, yeah.
And that journey starts with opening this guidebook, right?
Absolutely.
And letting your imagination run wild.
It does. It does.
And it's about going beyond just posting those pretty pictures. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about sharing those deeper lessons learned.
Right.
The challenges you've overcome, the impact it's had on you.
And who knows, maybe your story will inspire someone else to go on their own adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Sharing those experiences, it
Yeah.
keeps that spirit of adventure alive.
Yeah.
It encourages others to step outside their comfort zones.
Okay, so I think we've covered just about everything. Any final thoughts? What would you want people to remember, as they're planning their own adventures?
Approach trekking in Nepal with a sense of respect and responsibility.
Yeah.
Respect for the mountains, the culture, responsibility for your own safety and well-being.
It's about being a mindful traveler,
Absolutely.
not just a tourist.
Exactly.
And, David Way's book, Trekking in Nepal,
Yes.
it really is the essential companion for planning a trek.
It is. It is. It's full of those practical tips, those detailed maps, those inspiring insights.
And for more information and resources,
Yeah.
The Longest Way Home, his website.
Absolutely. A treasure trove of trekking knowledge and a wonderful community.
Well, I'm feeling inspired to start planning my own Nepal trip with some creative links. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Those mountains are calling.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us.
Happy trekking, everyone.